Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Game Daily for Wednesday.
Hey. Oh man, I really messed up my back, but I'll do my best here.
You shouldn't really do that. Hey, who out there is ready for some new Xbox news?
I am.
Okay, good, because there's a rumor that Microsoft isn't going to wait until next year to release a new console.
Whoa, yes, that means Rise 2. Gamers Rise must be right around the corner.
Kill me.
But no, we're not looking at a whole new generation as ushered in by 2013's hit game Rise, Son of Rome.
We're still talking about that, dear God. So a rumor circulated far and wide that Microsoft is planning to show off its next-gen Xboxes at E3 this year and release them in 2020, which would kick off the next generation of consoles. Woo. But now multiple outlets are reporting that Microsoft also plans on releasing a new console much sooner than that, as in this year.
Lawrence, what is going on?
Yeah, it's like a lot of new tech, it'll do even less than the Xbox used to. Yep, chuck all your discs in the trash because we're done with them.
All right.
That's right, the future is discless and we're looking at a discless Xbox.
Discless Xbox!
Discless Xbox!
If the rumor is true, this will be the first time that Microsoft has put out a discless console.
Dickless!
Dear God, and it would be first for any of the big console makers, I think.
Yeah, don't forget the PSP Go though. Although
Yeah.
the Switch doesn't use discs, it uses those SD cards.
Yeah, it's got
I mean, then I
media.
guess include all the Nintendo handhelds. That's not really fair. And who could forget about the Soja game?
We're getting soon!
Yeah, tell us more about the story, Lawrence.
This comes from tech blog Thurrott, something
Never
like
heard
that.
of it. Okay.
First reported on the mystery console. Incidentally, this is the same outlet that reported on Microsoft's true next gen of consoles, codenamed Scarlet at the time, which is actually a pretty cool name. It's mysterious and sexy. Anyway, this new discless console that we're talking about is not part of the Scarlet family. It's actually in the same class as the current generation of Xbox Ones.
Okay.
So it's not a next gen console. Even though Microsoft seems like they're kind of doing away with the idea of generations in general, it's just scaling hardware kind of like PC that plays all the same library. Microsoft's goal with this disc-free console is to lower the price of the entry-level Xbox One by a lot. Thurrott reports that it could retail for less than $200, which is pretty cool. That would be quite a bit less than current Xbox Ones, which at the time of writing cost $230 US.
As for when it will release, Thurrott says that it could happen as soon as the spring, which that is pretty soon.
That's really soon.
Despite what it looks like outside, death.
This hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but another respected source of Microsoft information, Windows Central editor Jez Corden chimed in and said that yes, they're hearing the same thing.
According to Windows Central, the discless console is codenamed Maverick, but when it hits retail, the plan is to call the Xbox One S All Digital Edition, the SAD edition.
The Zossade.
It's pronounced Sade.
It's not really the most elegant title, as you can see, but it does explain pretty directly what it is. That's important since you don't want to confuse people at retail with what the various models of Xbox do and don't do.
Windows Central is also reporting that Microsoft could start taking pre-orders by the middle of next month, and then general availability would start in early May.
Thurrott also reported that along with the dickless console, Microsoft will also launch a disc-to-digital program where you can trade in your physical copies for a digital code.
This is all sounding so familiar.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, 2013, baby.
I'm getting PTSD flashbacks.
It's back. 2013.
It's not hard to see why Microsoft's doing this. People have been buying more and more games digitally now for years.
Yeah, Lawrence, what's that growth looking like? It's got to be like almost all the way turned over now.
I mean, it's wild, and we've seen this out of revenue reports from every major publisher for the past few years. If you look at the entire video game industry, including console, PC, mobile, social, back in 2010, 69% of game sales were physical versus 31% digital. By 2017, that had basically inverted. 21% were physical and
69! Oh, 79%.
Nice. Percent were digital, so obviously pretty big sea change in under a decade. Eurogamer reported earlier this year that digital sales account for 80% of game sales in the UK. 2017, it was reported that digital sales make up 74% of the game market in the US, but that is including stuff like PC and mobile. Mobile's obviously a huge sector and it's all digital, so you know, it throws the needle around a little bit.
Yeah. As for digital versus physical sales on just consoles, we don't have any good numbers for that, especially for the entire console industry.
Yeah, last year though, Sony said in a financial report that 43% of the PlayStation 4 software sales were digital in one quarter in 2018. And for the whole fiscal year, its digital sales were 32%.
And if you look at some individual games, digital sales are even higher. When Destiny 2 came out back in 2017, Activision said that more than half of its sales were digital.
Some analysts have said that the entire industry could be 100% digital by 2022.
I've never seen Lawrence with such a throbbing erection.
I mean, I've been all digital for a long time.
Well,
now.
we've been saying that for years. We've
Yeah.
been saying that consoles are a service and all
Sure,
that
yeah.
stuff for years. So.
But we're ahead of the curve. We're future boys.
Cool.
Gamers.
Look at what Lawrence is wearing. He's from the year 2022.
So it's safe to say that digital sales are big, and they're only going to get bigger. Physical media is declining across the entire entertainment world in general. Just look at DVDs. You can't, because they're gone.
I mean, hell, I got a storage container filled with Jane Fonda workout tapes and movies I recorded off of TV years ago. 12 months ago. So if someone wants to come over and take the batch for $200, give me a shout.
Nobody's giving you money money for that crap.
It's on Let Go.
That garbage.
Paying $50 a month to store that shit. Gotta recoup my money.
Despite the movement to digital, we're not completely there yet, right, Lawrence?
Yeah, lots of gamers still like buying physical copies, whether it's to lend to friends, sell them back later, just to have it in your hand to reinforce that illusion that you actually own something instead of just paying for a temporary license to play a game, to access digital services and entertainment. I get it. It kind of plays into this fear that if you hand over all of the keys to access your library to digital companies, they could f with you, and they might. So, whoops. Last year, Nielsen surveyed 2,000 teens and adults, and of those who played consoles, 66% said that they preferred physical copies over digital.
69%, right?
Just three shy. So Microsoft knows that a lot of console gamers still like their physical copies, and to address that market, Throw says that they're also planning to release a new, cheaper version of the Xbox One S later this year that will still take discs.
Sounds like a bare bones entry-level console that you could use to play newer games like Red Dead Redemption 2. This is something we usually see at the end of a console generation, like we are at. Cheaper, no-frills consoles that are intended to get those last stragglers playing your system.
Yeah, hold out. We all have that buddy who's still playing on a PS3 or an Xbox 360, but is still interested in Spider-Man or Red Dead 2. It's pretty much aimed at that guy.
Got it. Not to mention parents whose kids are pestering them for a console, but they don't want to pay a bunch of money. That's the easiest way to go.
Just give them Adderall like everyone else. So, as for Microsoft, this new discless console would be in line with their strategy of beefing up their subscription service like Game Pass to get as many people as possible to pay them a monthly fee.
Yeah, basically they're not as interested in selling you a console. Their ultimate goal is to sell you a bunch of games and ideally a subscription service. And they can't do that without hardware to host the service. Kind of like Netflix, it's better for them to be on everything instead of selling you a specific Netflix box like they used to do, but they don't do that anymore.
Xbox boss Phil Spencer said in a recent interview with GeekWire that consoles are, quote, not where you make money.
Lawrence, what else he said?
Went on to say, quote, the business inside of games is really selling games and selling access to games and content. So if you open it up, the more often people can play, the more they're enjoying the art form, it increases the size of the business. So yeah, I mean, with things being distributed on digital and especially with games hardware kind of converging to similarities, there's no reason to lock your stuff out hardware-wise anymore. It just doesn't make sense. They're releasing newer games more often on their Game Pass service, like Just Cause 4.
Yeah,
only been out for a few months.
Awesome.
Yeah, and like they said at E3 last year, all Microsoft Game Studios products launch date and date on the service, like Crackdown 3,
That's right.
Sea of Thieves, Forza, what have you.
Not bad.
Yeah, they're really pushing it. And all Microsoft Game Studios stuff launches on PC now too. So
great.
And with a discless. Fuck.
Dickless.
So with a discless console being
Dickless.
so cheap, it would make sense to package that with a free month or two of Game Pass, right?
That's how they get you hooked.
First
Give
taste
you a
is
little
free.
taste.
Yeah, that's what my drug dealer said.
There was even a rumor that Game Pass might come to Switch, which would be incredibly revolutionary. People are saying that might not actually happen, but still, Microsoft has shown a big willingness lately to collaborate with other console makers, so it's not that crazy to imagine.
Meanwhile, Microsoft is also getting its xCloud streaming service ready to test out in public trials this year.
xCloud, that's for its next generation. That's cool. Next generation of consoles. Thurrott says Microsoft is still deciding whether or not to include a dickless version.
Diskless.
Oh, sorry.
But whether they do or not, the brave new diskless world
Dickless.
looks like it's almost here.
Ultimately, it feels like Microsoft is dipping its toe into the dickless waters without fully committing.
Yes. This is a way to try a new concept out and see if people like it. If a new console flops, then they didn't really commit too many resources to it. But if it works, we'll probably see more diskless Xboxes in the generations to come.
Also, I wonder how small this could be. Without a disk drive, could we be looking at a hockey puck-sized console, Lawrence?
I don't know.
Like this, like
So-
little guy.
It's a tiny little boy.
Little baby.
Sure.
So here's the thing: if you pop open an Xbox One S, and we've all done that on the weekends, right? When you want to really soup up your console, jazz it up a little bit.
No.
A significant portion of that box is just the negative space required to hold a disk drive. Those things are huge, and they can't get smaller. It's kind of like the headphone port on a phone. They've been trying to take those out because the clunkiness of a physical interaction with a now fully digital machine is just dumb. If you rip that out, you've already basically reduced the profile size by half. Also, the Xbox One S is over 2 years old at this point. So if they put it back through engineering, re-engineer it with fewer chips, condense the boards, make it cheaper to manufacture, even that part of it also gets miniaturized. And if you add in like the vapor chamber cooling tech from the One X, suddenly you have a really tiny, efficient little puck of a guy. Slap some dog ears on it and googly eyes and you got yourself a console.
What is he talking about?
No, I'm not sure anymore. Worth noting that the Xbox One is a really good media center. I use it every night. And this could be a way for Microsoft to compete with the Rokus and Apple TVs of the world.
Yeah, Microsoft leaned into media capabilities hard when it launched the Xbox One back at the beginning of this generation to be your living room's media device.
Right, football.
Xbox Snap Football.
Xbox Snap Machinima app. They've backed way off of that though when it bombed hard with most of the gaming crowd, but but this new console could be their way back in.
At $200 or less, it's getting closer to the price range of a Roku or an Apple TV or any of the other million devices that can connect to your TV right now. Plus, it obviously has the ability to play games that those other devices don't have. And it has a way better controller.
No, that's totally
The best, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well. So then it could appeal to not only casuals, but families and broke college students who are looking for more of an all-in-one device. Basically the exact opposite of an Xbox One X.
That's right, a really hot big box.
It is loud behind the TV of mine.
We'll have to wait and see what happens, but if the timeline of this rumor is true, we won't be waiting for long, right, Lawrence?
Yeah, it's exciting. More stuff. Who doesn't like tech?
Yeah, that's cool.
Are you guys ready to chuck all your discs in the trash and embrace the digital ethereal future? Are you ready to admit that ownership is an illusion and the only truth we have is the conviction that everything in this world dies? Let us know in the comments below.
This got heavy.
Are we supposed to end the episode like that? That's what we found, Lawrence.
It could be that Xbox actually has business interest in Anthem being successful. Last year in April, the site Rectify Gaming reported that Microsoft has an exclusive marketing rights deal with Anthem, among other third-party games including Metro Exodus, Cyberpunk 2077, Borderlands 3, and Elder Scrolls 6, and Madden NFL 19, which is another EA game.
Interesting. Okay.
So